You know, so the police, they interviewed him, so he was the one that told us that was him. So I was kind of shocked when I heard that.
Salas says John lived in this wooden tin home with his family. He was often seen walking the neighborhood, Salas adding that John even helped them with some yard work. Officers with GPD's Criminal Investigation Division are handling the case. Investigators canvassed the area for clues and interviewed multiple residents living here. Village Mayor Jesse Gogui.
When we hear of a death in the community, it somewhat shocks us, especially in that area, because in that particular area, I knew of no one that had any major health issues.
Mayor Gogui says it's one of the quieter parts of his village. For now, this community is left waiting for answers and hoping to find out soon what really happened to their family friend.
Well, now you just have to be careful, you know. It's like you don't know what's going on now, you know, and I have kids, and, you know, it's like now that happened and I see it, it's like, what, you know, kind of scared for them. You know, it's unexpected, and, you know, you just never know.
Still no word if police are looking for any suspects linked to this case. Police say an autopsy will be performed to determine his cause and manner of death.
The Korean soccer player charged with rape is on Guam for his trial. Jurors on Monday heard from his alleged victim. Here's more. Her face turned red as she struggled to hold back tears, stating, quote, "My body was frozen, so I couldn't think or talk," end quote. The 23-year-old Korean woman recalled a night back in January earlier this year. That night, she alleges Byungho Kim raped her in a room at the Leo Palace Resort. Kim is charged with third-degree criminal sexual conduct as a second-degree felony and fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct as a misdemeanor. Kim was on Guam with the Sangju Sangwoo soccer team at the time. He sat in court on Monday between his attorney, Randy Cunliffe, and his Korean interpreter. On the stand, the victim, with the help of a Korean interpreter, recalled the day's events leading to her alleged rape. Kim and another man had met her for a day of sightseeing. They ate pizza and snacks before having Asahi beers in the hotel room. The man who had promised to drive her back to her hotel had too much to drink and asked her for time to quote-unquote sober up. She recalled feeling worried, but she couldn't call a taxi without money, and she had no friends on Guam to call for a ride. She fell asleep in the same room as both men, on the same bed as Kim. Her back facing him, she remembered feeling his hands on her panties, then on her breast, before he penetrated her. Earlier in the day, jurors heard testimony from Gerald Pangalinen. The G4S security officer was on duty that night. He recalled hearing a woman's screams for help. Though she spoke limited English, he testified that she used an app on her phone. The only word on the screen was rape. The woman didn't want to call police at first, but insisted on speaking with Kim's coach. GPD criminalist Zenobia Lin also testified to her findings. Lin works in the serology division and examined the slides from the sexual assault kit, bed sheets, and the clothing and underwear worn by both the victim and defendant. Semen and blood were found on Kim's shorts. Both quantities were too small to conduct further testing.
Now to miraculous rescue caught on video. This is the scene on Sunday of hikers being medevaced out of the Tarzan Falls area. You can see that strong rush of water coming down. Joint Region Marianas officials confirming they worked with the Guam Fire Department and the U.S. Navy's Island Knights of HSC-25 to get to them. Military officials say 2 hikers that fell in the vicinity of the falls needed help. Fortunately, the pair were spotted and taken to the hospital for treatment. Both of them, we are told, are recovering and doing okay thanks to the quick response from the local and military first responders.
Although he was processed last week, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio was instructed to report to the Hagåtña precinct this afternoon, apparently to be processed a second time. Walking into the Hagåtña precinct with his attorney, Tom Fisher, it was round 2 for Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio.
You get another bite of the apple, and at my expense. So ultimately,
we did what we were asked to do.
Yeah, we
did. We'd completed everything. They told us we had completed processing until 4:45 on Friday afternoon, and here we are at 4:45 on Monday, getting it done.
According to Attorney Fisher, they were informed that his client had to be fingerprinted again.
Yeah, I guess if there's some sort of I don't know, they need it digitally done.
Well, it was. how do I say this? I think it's important that we look at, this criminal justice process. I will do whatever I'm asked to do. I know I'm innocent. I know that there's a lot of politics involved in this process, and of course, how many other misdemeanor people that you get booked and are you at the Agana precinct for? So really, I think this is quite enough.
Tenorio faces misdemeanor charges for grabbing a loaded gun from a veteran police officer at the July barbecue block party in Tumon. He admitted to drinking 2 to 3 beers, but said he was not drunk and that he did it in the name of public safety because the gun appeared to be improperly holstered. Today, he called the entire ordeal blown out of proportion, with Attorney Fisher questioning the timing of the charges.
I hope that people understand that I'm here to protect the people of Guam and protect the unborn, protect foster families, provide for the common man, look out for making sure that the conflicts of interest that I don't have are not something that my opponent will acknowledge, hopefully. I think it's important for us to look out for the interest, and there's a lot of distraction from the campaign season. I think it's important for people to understand that we're here to run for governor, and look, I'm going through the process. I think this has gone pretty much far enough. I never imagined this intention, which was well intended, to try to help protect the officer and the public, would be blown out of proportion to this extent.
Not to mention the Attorney General's brought this charge right in the middle of a general election. It wouldn't have happened anywhere else. This is just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. It has the appearance of trying to put your thumb on the scales.
Tenorio has pleaded not guilty to the charges and is scheduled to appear back in court in March of next year. Lou and Josh are in the lead, according to a KUAM News student UOG poll conducted over the weekend. Lou Leon Guerrero and Josh Tenorio hold a commanding 65% to 30% lead over Ray Tenorio and Tony Atta. 371 registered voters were polled in a combination of telephone and personal interviews. 5% provided a response, quote, other than Leon Guerrero or Tenorio. In the race for Attorney General, Even Camacho maintains a strong lead over Doug Moylan, being 62% to 33% respectively. In the congressional race, Mike Assen holds a sizable lead over Doris Flores Brooks at 63% and 33%. The poll was conducted from October 5th to the 7th. The KUAM News and Student UOG poll was conducted in conjunction with UOG's Public Administration Data Analysis class.
Well, it's that time again to bring you more candidates who will be making their way to the general election this November. Joining us on D18 tonight will be Democrat senatorial candidate Lacia Casil and incumbent and Republican senatorial candidate Will Castro. It's your chance to interact with the candidates. Watch our live stream on Facebook and post your questions in the comment section so we can get it to them. Then join us on the after party as we bring you Marge Johnson, Kate Baltazar, Carlos, and Dr. Ron McNinch, and our analysts in studio to talk everything election and about how tonight's candidates did on the show. D18 is coming up right after primetime.
Stick around for more news here on Primetime.
You're watching KUAM.
There are more ways to experience Guam via KUAM News, giving you what you want, when you want, and how you want it. From smart devices, Alexa, what's in the news?
Here's your flash briefing.
Over the web, on mobile, on streaming platforms, with immersive, interactive formats, and via social media where it's more than just content, it's conversation. More ways to keep you informed and entertained whenever you want it, wherever you are, on whatever device you're using.
Cheers to 80 years. It's our 80th anniversary and the gifts are on us. 80 gift certificates, 8 shopping sprees, 8 staycations, and 1 round-trip flyaway for 2 to Manila. So how do you enter? Calvo's Insurance personal home and auto customers are automatically entered. Non-Calvo's customers may enter by receiving a qualified quote. It's our way of saying thank you for trusting us for the past 80 years. For more details, visit calvos.com/giveaway or call 472-6816. Calvo's Insurance, serving Guam for 80 years.
Win adventure in the ITE Explore Your World Million Mile Giveaway. Every week from July 16 to November 2nd, we're giving away 60,000 United Mileage Plus miles to ITE postpaid and prepaid subscribers. Imagine where you could go. Go on a weekend getaway to the Philippines. Enjoy fresh sushi in Japan. Itadakimasu. Sip a latte at a cafe in Paris. Or use your miles for shopping and other rewards. It's your world. Explore it.
As governor, I will set clear priorities for Guam. First, we will keep our people and communities safe. Second, I will provide tax breaks for businesses that pay higher wages. And third, we will invest in education and healthcare. My priorities are creating jobs and strengthening the economy. My commitment is to serve you. I am Lou Leon Guerrero, and I approve this message because I believe together we can strengthen our community and protect our family.
Welcome back. Adelup is not giving up on its bid to get individual help for storm victims. Gov Guam is appealing the recent denial of local residents for FEMA's Individual Assistance Program. While President Donald Trump had approved the governor's request for a major disaster declaration, only government agencies and nonprofit organizations are eligible for public assistance and hazard mitigation programs. Individuals currently don't qualify for federal grant money under the declaration. Governor Calvo has directed the Office of Civil Defense to gather more data to help meet the federal threshold for individual assistance. Meanwhile, Adelup says GURA and the Guam Housing Corporation continue to work with families whose homes were destroyed by Typhoon Mangkhut.
More details have been released on Gov Guam's continuing lawsuit to hold the Navy accountable for its part in the contamination of the old Orta dump. The Attorney General's office provided copies of the D.C. District Court's ruling. Basically, in her decision on the Navy's motion for dismissal, the judge found that the 2004 consent decree between Guam and the U.S. EPA failed to resolve who is liable for the cost of the Orta cleanup. She concluded that Gov Guam can continue with the lawsuit seeking recovery of its costs for the dump closure.
An elementary school in Agate was placed on a brief lockdown after gunshots were heard near the campus Monday morning. Guam DOE spokesperson Isa Baza says it happened around 10:10 in the morning at Marshall Sablan Elementary School. Guam police were called after gunshots were heard. The lockdown lifted after the all clear was given just before 10:30 this morning. School officials confirmed with police that the gunshots apparently was a result of a gun salute happening at a nearby cemetery.
The Tax Amnesty program brought in about $30 million of the $35 million that was pledged. The program that waived the penalties on previously uncollected taxes was launched on May 7. The final payment deadline was on September 28th. It had been extended several times to give taxpayers more time to come up with the funds. The program covered individual and corporate income tax, GRT, alcohol, and tobacco taxes. The amnesty money played a key part in the fiscal year 2019 debate to balance the Gov Guam budget. Some of the proceeds were earmarked to fix deficiencies at the hospital that threatened Medicare and Medicaid funding.
A bill to rename Route 7 the Korean Veterans Memorial Highway drew favorable testimony at a public hearing Monday. The key remarks coming from 91-year-old Korean war vet Ben Ngok of Maina, who told senators it was only fitting to honor his former comrades in arms.
But don't think of us living. Think of those people that sacrificed their life for us. I am here to representing those 20 people that are. Think of them, but not us here.
Reps of the local Korean community also testified in favor of the bill. Authored by Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr., Route 7 runs from Asin Maina through Agenya Heights and into Hagatnya.
With regional headlines, here's KSPN 2 News.
Half a day, Guam. Here's what's making news in the CNMI. Imperial Pacific International Board of Directors sends out an email to all directors and above announcing the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Henry Cheng, has resigned. Addressed to all directors and above at Imperial Pacific International, the subject line reads, quote, Executives Movement Announcement, end quote. As effective yesterday, Mr. Cheng no longer is the CEO of IPI, fulfilling the leadership position for the past 3 years. In the email notice, the board of directors thanks him for his contributions. KSPN2 reached out to IPI for a statement, and the company responds by wishing him continued success in his future endeavors, stating, quote, the board would like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. Henry Cheng once again for his unwavering commitment, end quote. 5 days later and still vacant, the Once Upon Mariana's Resort and Spa's land lease is still without operations. And in 3 years, other hotels on island may have the same future. A legislation may be able to prevent this for some time. The Senate Bill 20-35 aims to increase the term for public land leases, and Governor Ralph Torres tells us he is in support of this measure.
I'm in support I'm in support of extending our land lease from 40 to 55. Again, for me, if whatever the law that we have in place, I would like to make sure that we follow that law. If it recalls for an RFP, then whether I like it or not, I want to make sure that we follow that RFP. If there's an extension on my table to extend land lease, I will gladly support it. Again, that's just the general idea of supporting the extension. But if there's unconstitutional part of the law or the bill, then and it forces me to veto it, then I will.
This measure is still in the legislature and awaiting action by the Senate. Watch these top stories and more at saipantv.com. For KSPN2, I'm Adriana Cotero.
Back here at home, it was a historic announcement of local members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The news was made public at a church conference Sunday in the mainland that the first ever temple in Guam will be built in Jigo. Church of LDS Area Authority Bill Davis says it's an exciting and important development for them.
The temple, because of the ordinances that are done in the temple, are very sacred to the members of the church. Only members who qualify or worthy members of the church can go into the temple and participate in temple ordinances. Temples, because they're so special, we have very few of them around the world. With the announcement of 12 new temples, it will bring the number of temples in the world up to 201. Whereas chapels, we have thousands and thousands of chapels all around the world.
Davis says eligible church members must typically travel to Manila to visit a temple. He says the decision to build a new temple in Guam is an indication that the church is doing well here. Currently, they have more than 3,000 members throughout Guam, the Sinai, and Micronesia.
Time to get in those orders for some unlimited soup, salads, and breadsticks. At least that's what they are known for, along with their pizzas, pastas, and more. Guam's first ever Olive Garden is opening its doors tomorrow down in Tumon. This definitely brings in some new job opportunities. We were given a sneak peek at the location and even a taste of some of the favorites on the menu. Here's General Manager Paulo Tarzan.
We're definitely going to offer Guam the whole Italian cuisine, the Italian experience. The ambiance of the place is definitely something to be in awe of. We spent countless hours setting up the restaurant, not to only look like a piece of Italy, but at the same time have the feeling.
Apple Pacific brought the popular Italian restaurant to the island. Doors open at 11 a.m. tomorrow at the Tumon Sands Plaza. Speaking of which.
Yeah, and it was Crystal's dream, as she says in the newsroom, to try Olive Garden. So you're welcome. Sports is next, but first a look at your island weather.